Hello and welcome to Standard Voice Television Global News at 3 o'clock today. 13th March 2026, equivalent to Islamic calendar, 24th Ramadan 1447 after the Hijrah of the Noble Prophet. The headlines. President Tinubu approves new military equipment to reinforce fight against terrorism nationwide. National Assembly to pass over 48 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill on March 31st. Nigeria partners Singapore to strengthen technical and vocational education system. On the international scene, ECOWAS places Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone on alert following border tensions. And on sport updates, Korea beats the Tigers 77-60 in Women's Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Details and more news will be coming to you in the news bulletin. I am Sumaya Mustafa. Stand by. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the purchase of more military hardware to reinforce the armed forces campaign against insurgency and terrorism nationwide. Minister of Defense Christopher Musa, who made this known after a high-level security briefing in Abuja, said service chiefs provide Tinubu with an update on ongoing operations and the prevailing security landscape across Nigeria. Musa, while acknowledging a wave of attacks, stressed that security forces have continued to respond and rise to the occasion, inflicting significant losses on terrorist networks. The minister confirmed that many high-ranking militant commanders have been killed in recent engagements, with troops seizing enemy assets. The former defense chief also paid tribute to fallen service members, describing their deaths as regrettable, but stressed that military resolve remains unshaken. The federal government has advised Catholic faithful to apply the principles of Catholic social teaching in addressing Nigeria's social, economic, and political challenges. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office in his office, Ezemama Chidebera, made the call at the 2026 Laity Week flag-off ceremony in Abuja. He described Laity Week as a sacred moment of reflection and renewal for Catholics, noting that Nigeria continues to grapple with complex challenges, including economic pressures, social inequality, and concerns about justice and national cohesion. Also, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, represented by the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Declan Emelumba, said the administration's policies were driven by love, compassion, and commitment to the welfare of the people, as encouraged by the Catholic faith. Moving on, the Kaduna State Government has distributed economic intervention packages to cooperative society aimed at making the state agricultural and livestock capital of northern Nigeria. Governor Obasani, who disclosed this at a flag-off of the distribution of livestock intervention to 5,000 cooperatives, noted that the state will be a center of innovation, productivity, and inclusive growth in agriculture. Sani, who was represented by the Deputy Governor Hadiza Balarabe, said government will continue to build a state that feeds itself, supports the nation, and exports to the world with the support of the people. The governor emphasized that he foresees a Kaduna state that stands tall as the heart of Nigeria's agricultural revitalization. At the event, solar-powered freezers with panels, inverters, and batteries, feed millers, bags of poultry feed, and day-old chicks were distributed to organize farmer cooperatives across 23 local government areas. Still in the news, the Senate is expected to pass the 48.47 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill on March 31, following a brief recess of the Salah break. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, gave assurance before the adjournment, noting that standing committees will continue work during the recess, particularly ongoing budget defenses and coordination with the Committee on Appropriations. The House of Representatives had already adjourned to conclude budget processes and will also meet on March 31. The National Assembly, however, confirmed Jamila Abubakar Sadiq as National Commissioner representing the Northeast at the Independent National Electoral Commission. The Senate also confirmed the appointment of Usman Daikingari as non-career ambassador and Ismail Yusuf as chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON. Moving on, 6 members of the House of Representatives on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) have defected to the All Progressives Congress (APC) and the African Democratic Congress (ADC). The Labour Party was also hit by the wind of defections, losing 5 members as political realignments intensified ahead of the next electoral cycle. The Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, while announcing the defections during plenary, attributed the wave of cross-carpeting to lingering internal crisis within the opposition parties. Lawmakers who dumped the PDP for the APC include Bitrus Kwamoti, Zakaria Nyampa, James Burka and Kobe Steinmo, all from Adamawa State, Mohammed Bargaja and Midala Balami. In the same vein, Senators Aminu Tambuol, Einaya Abaribe, Binos Yaroi, Victor Ume, Tony Nwoye, Lawal Usman, Ugoshi Onao, Augustine Okobondu and Ireti Kingibe Federal Capital Territory (FCT) had earlier moved to the African Democratic Congress (ADC). Still in the news, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in Zamfara State, Sana Abdullahi Shinkafi, says Governor Dauda Lawal's resolution to join the ruling party is a welcome development. Shinkafi, who stated this while addressing party supporters in Gusau, noted that the governor's defection would bring more development to the state. It would be recalled that Governor Lawal on Monday, through his deputy, Mani Mumuni, announced his defection from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the APC after a stakeholders consultation meeting. Mumuni also explained that the governor, as the leader of the APC in the state now, will address various challenges of disunity and instability in the party. The deputy governor therefore assured of his continued support for Lawal and the party, while appealing to the state government to focus on addressing the insecurity bedeviling the state. The news is coming to you on Standard Voice Television. Still to come in the news. Nigeria partners Singapore to strengthen technical and vocational education system. And on the international scene, you will hear that ECOWAS places Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone on alert following border tensions. And on sport update, Korea beats the Tigers 77-60 in Women's Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Do stand by for these and more after this break. Welcome back from that short break, and now the news continues. The federal government is collaborating with Singapore's Institute of Technical Education Services, ITS, to strengthen Nigeria's technical and vocational education (TVET) and training system. The pact was signed during a virtual ceremony linking officials in Abuja and Singapore, with Nigeria represented by the National Board for Technical Education (NBTE) and Singapore's represented by ITS. Spokesperson for the Federal Ministry of Education, Folashade Boriowo, in a statement, said the partnership builds an engagement initiated during the 2025 visit of the Minister of Education, Maruf Alosa, who met Singapore's Minister of Education, Desmond Lee, and visited IT's campuses. The statement added that under the partnership of ITs, it will implement a train-the-trainer program to strengthen the pedagogical and assessment capacity of TVET instructors across Nigeria. Boriowo said the initiative supports efforts to reposition technical education as a key driver of economic growth, job creation, and industrial development. The Nigeria Meteorological Agency (NIMET) has cautioned residents of some northern states on the heightened risk of cerebrospinal meningitis. The agency issued the warning in a statement on its official X account, stressing the need for vigilance and prompt action to prevent the spread of the potentially life-threatening infection. The alert categorized states by risk levels, with the highest risk observed in Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi, Katsina, Kano, Jigawa, Adamawa, Gombe, Bauchi, Yobe, and Borno State. NIMET also advised residents of central states to exercise moderate vigilance, while Plateau, Oyo, Cross River, Edo, Ekiti, and Enugu were considered low vigilance areas. According to the agency, cerebrospinal meningitis is a serious infection affecting the brain and spinal cord, commonly caused by the bacterium Neisseria meningitis. It spreads through respiratory droplets, especially in crowded or poorly ventilated places. And on business news, the 36 states of the Federation have demanded for a forensic audit of Nigeria's crude oil-backed borrowing plans, warning that muddy crude for loan and swap deals may be undermining inflows into the Federation account. The request was contained in a communique issued at the end of the 2026 retreat of the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC. Post-mortem subcommittee, which stated that all crude oil-backed borrowing arrangements should be subjected to legislative approval, full disclosure and independent audit. The communique followed a 3-day retreat held in Enugu, where fiscal authorities, state representatives, revenue agencies and policy experts met to examine persistent revenue leakages affecting the Federation account. According to an analysis of a report by the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL's) financial statements, the NNPC pledged 272,500 barrels per day of crude oil through a series of crude for loan deals totaling $8.86 billion. It was gathered that NNPC has already fully repaid $2.61 billion in loans, representing 29.4% of the total credit facility, while $6.25 billion and remains outstanding. Still in the news, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has expressed worry over rising tensions along the borders between Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, urging the countries involved to exercise restraint and resolve their differences through peaceful dialogue. The regional bloc, in a statement, said it is monitoring the situation and had decided to deploy a technical assessment mission to evaluate developments along the disputed Yenga. According to ECOWAS, the move follows growing concerns over tensions between Guinea and Sierra Leone in the Yenga border region, an area that has long been sensitive due to historical territorial disagreements. It also noted that recent developments along the Lofa County border between Guinea and Liberia had introduced additional complexities to the situation, prompting the Commission to expand the geographical scope of its assessment mission. The regional bloc notes that the expanded mission would allow it to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of current and potential areas of friction within the Mano River Basin. Violence against women and girls has continued to be fueled by war, militarization and entrenched inequality. The United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed issued the warning at a high-level meeting marking 5 years of the UN Group of Friends for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls. She lamented that conflicts around the world are exposing women and girls to severe and lasting harm, calling on governments to move beyond condemnation and take decisive action. The UN Deputy Chief spoke on the sidelines of the ongoing 70th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, at UN headquarters in New York. According to the UN, over 4,500 cases of conflict-related sexual violence were verified in 2024, although the true number is likely far high due to stigma, fear and collapsed reporting systems. Mohammed stressed that women must be central to peace processes and political decision-making, warning that lasting peace cannot be achieved while women and girls remain excluded and unprotected. And lastly, on sports updates, South Korea ended Nigeria's 8-game competitive winning line with a 77-60 victory over the African champions in their second outing at the 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup qualifying tournament in France. The defeat marked the Tigress' first competitive loss since falling to the United States at the Paris 2024 Olympics and stopped the momentum built during an unbeaten run that culminated in their triumph at the 2025 Women's Afro-Basket. The game also provided a severe test for coach Rena Wakama's side 24 hours after they opened the tournament with a resounding 70-37 win over Colombia. South Korea, who had themselves suffered a heavy 76-49 defeat to Germany in their opening game of the qualifying event, responded with an energetic and tactically disciplined performance to revive their campaign at the Astro Ballet Arena. The 5-game tournament running from March 11 to 17 sees the top 2 teams joining hosts Germany and Afro-Basket champions Nigeria at the 2026 World Cup. Finally on the news, here's the recap of the top stories again. President Tinubu approves new military equipment to reinforce fight against terrorism nationwide. National Assembly to pass over 48 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill on March 31st. Nigeria partners Singapore to strengthen technical and vocational education system. On the international scene, ECOWAS places Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone on alert following border tensions. And on sport updates, Korea beats the Tigers 77-60 in Women's Basketball World Cup qualifiers. And that's the size of the news on Standard Voice Television Global News. Our next news bulletin comes to you later at 6 o'clock. On behalf of the news editor, Ilya Ademo Auta, and the production crew, I am Sumaya Mustafa. Thanking you for watching.